Story 1. I lived in one place for 3 years under a natural monopoly. I had to call the telephone company every single month because my internet slowed to dial-up speeds or was cut out entirely. I would wait on hold for 45 minutes, finally speak to a human, and the issue would be fixed within minutes. I am much less sensitive to the amount of money I am charged than to the physical and emotional toll of unreliable service. Story 2. Deer-run treadmills broke in 9 days. Customer service said it was because I was overweight despite being over 50 pounds lighter than the maximum weight allowed. They claimed the issue was that the motor sparked a flame. I recently saw an advertisement featuring a woman who stuffed her shirt with a pillow to appear overweight before revealing herself without the pillow and saying, "Wow, this treadmill helped me lose weight. This is a misleading company." Update. They also messaged me on Facebook offering free items, such as a water bottle, in exchange for removing my review and comments on their advertisements. Story 3. Hewlett-Packard printers. Nothing says hostage situation like needing a subscription to print your own documents. Story 4. Doc Martens moved manufacturing to China, and the quality has declined significantly. Old pairs used to last 10 years. Now I am lucky if I get one good year before they look worn out. It is disappointing. It used to be a brand of quality, not just another corporate sellout for wannabe rebels. Story 5. United Airlines. I bought a premium economy ticket for an international flight, which cost $600 extra. A month before departure, they sent me an email saying my seat had been changed. When I logged in, I saw I was in regular economy seats. I called, and they said the scheduled plane was changed to one without premium economy. They refused to refund the difference I paid and told me I could either change all of my travel plans, have my ticket price adjusted for the regular economy seat at an additional cost of $200, or complain after my flight. To add insult to injury, prior to departure, they changed planes back to the one with premium economy but did not restore my premium economy seat. Instead, they offered me the option to pay for an upgrade to premium economy. I submitted a customer service ticket after my flight, but they never responded. Story 6. Panasonic repaired an item I sent back to them that was under warranty. The warranty expired while the item was in the shop being repaired. I called them and expressed my concerns. They assured me that they stood behind their repair work. When they shipped it back to me, it failed in the same way within a week. They refused in writing to repair or replace it. I let them know I would never buy anything from them again. It has been more than 40 years now, and I tell this story to anyone who will listen. Story 7. Gillette. About 20 years ago, they got a new chief executive officer who raised prices because Gillette dominated the men's razor market. This was back when the Mach 3 razor was very popular. Cartridges tripled or quadrupled in price. I never bought anything from Gillette again after I read that article. Interestingly, this led to the creation of Dollar Shave Club, Harry's Razor, and others. Story 8. Wells Fargo. I stopped using Wells Fargo about 2 years ago. It has saved me several $100s, and I receive better service. Story 9. Air Miles rewards points. They were caught showing expensive rewards on their site when you do not have enough points to buy them. However, a lady logged in with her father's account, which did have enough points for that reward, and it was nowhere to be found on the site. Story 10. Hewlett-Packard requires an internet connection to scan a page on my printer. Additionally, it forces you to sign in to use the printer application on the personal computer. Story 11. BetterHelp is an absolutely horrible company. I met with a therapist, and during my 3 sessions I paid for, she gaslighted me, insulted me, told me that I should be ashamed of myself for being upset because people have it worse than me, and said she was surprised I had not succeeded in killing myself yet because I seem to be a tad obsessive with things I focus on. When I requested a refund, they denied it. They told me that I got what I paid for and that the actual quality of my sessions had no bearing on that. Story 12. Fitbit. I am not sure if it was the result of being acquired by Google, but eventually the quality of their devices started declining, often failing just outside warranty periods. Their customer service would try to mislead everyone into thinking it was not a widespread issue when their entire forum was full of problems. They tried to make you think that maybe you caused the problem that thousands of others were experiencing. Story 13. KitchenAid $2,000 fridge had three major issues in a few years. The last was the compressor going out. The repair technician came out and tried to hand me a bill for $1,000. This was an under-warranty service call from KitchenAid. I told him I would use this fridge as a boat anchor before I paid a cent on it. I was not charged. Here is the funny part. Every time this fancy $2,000 fridge stopped working, we put the food downstairs in the beer fridge I got off Craigslist for $75. Story 14. Verizon wireless policy is to end the call if they cannot resolve your issue within 60 minutes. I had a porting issue that was very complicated because it took multiple phone calls and I was disconnected several times. The phone representatives warned me as we approached 60 minutes. I finally gave up, lost my phone number, and switched to AT&T. Story 15. Years ago, I installed Norton antivirus, and within minutes, I started receiving spam phone calls from other countries. I reviewed the terms and conditions, and they state that, as part of their contract, they can sell your information, which is the exact opposite of what they are supposed to do. Story 16. Dr. Horton Homes. We purchased a brand new one 2 years ago. I am 47, and it is the worst case of buyer's remorse I have ever had. I love the neighborhood, the huge yard for the dog, and the perfect floor plan for us. The construction is absolutely poor quality. I lost count of the number of warranty calls in the first year. Out of 30 homes in the neighborhood, not a single owner is happy. Story 17. Hertz improperly tracked and managed their inventory of returned vehicles, resulting in paying customers being wrongfully arrested for stealing cars. This is unacceptable and unforgivable. Story 18. Duncan Hines cakes always came out perfectly. Then they reduced the amount of cake mix in their box cake mixes without adjusting the directions for the other ingredients, and the cakes do not turn out as well. Story 19. Boar's head. Quality my ass. Mold and mildew in processing plants. Listeria. Whatever else. I now avoid delis that advertise their brand. Story 20. Every single person that represents AT&T has never done their job right over the couple of decades my family had a plan with them. Thank goodness my family switched to T-Mobile. I have only been into their store twice, both for very important reasons, and each time they fixed my problem quickly. Story 21. All Saints calls themselves a premium brand and charges premium prices. Yet the quality of their clothes is wildly inconsistent and no better than fast fashion at times. I have seen many pieces that look beautiful from afar, but up close there are all kinds of corners being cut, such as scratchy fabric with no lining, raw edges, loose buttons, and seams that bust open after light wear. Do not spend your hard-earned money on this brand. Story 22. Federal Express. At this point, I am impressed if a package arrives on time without error. I have had multiple packages sent to the wrong address, delivered late, and just left in my driveway even when a signature was required. Story 23. Generac used to be the gold standard in generators. I built a house and really needed a whole house generator. I work from home in a state with ice storms and tornadoes on 38 acres in a rural area. Our rural electric cooperative is amazing, but in a bad situation it could be days or weeks without power. So I spent almost 5 figures. The generator never worked properly and required constant repairs, including 2 new controller boards. It never worked during any of the major power outages we experienced. The last straw was a month ago during a severe storm when the power went out. I had 4 guests staying over. The generator ran for 2 hours but quit at midnight while the storm was still ongoing. I spent the rest of the night very upset. I called the Kohler representative the next morning. Kohler generators are made better and run quieter. I have since read many reviews confirming that Generac quality has declined significantly. Story 24. I was a loyal TurboTax and Quicken user for years. Then they slipped in an update that suddenly wanted me to pay monthly for software I bought a few years earlier. I despise Intuit for that. Also, TurboTax has become way too expensive, and I find that a real accountant does a better job than I can, for just a little more than TurboTax. Story 25. Comcast has consistent billing problems because I used my own modem. They would always try to charge a modem rental fee, and I had to contact them to remove the charge. Story 26. I was repairing a Sony television just out of warranty. A component, I believe the memory was broken, and the only source was Sony. The phone call, paraphrased. Hello, I have a TV Model X. Component Y is broken. Do you have any in stock? Let me see. Yes, I have plenty. Those sometimes fail. Great. Could you send me one? But of course. Which Sony repair center are you calling from? No, I'm a private individual. I am not selling you anything. Hangs up. Story 27, Johnson & Johnson, the 1%. That documentary opened my eyes in a profound way. They do not need the money, ever. Story 28, General Motors. I was completely loyal to the brand for decades. I bought a new sport utility vehicle, and it contained an engine sourced from China where they cut corners on the gasket materials. The head gasket blew in just over 100,000 miles. The heating, ventilation, and air conditioning blend door also failed and required almost the entire dashboard to be removed for servicing. Never again. Story 29. To me, it's Samsung. I had multiple devices fail me or family members over a very short time period. And for that, I vowed to never buy them again. They make good devices, but their quality control is poor. First, it was a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra that had its screen start to flash and turn green just over a year after I bought it. I had also bought both of my parents a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip each, and both started malfunctioning about a year after I gifted them. If you close the phone physically, the screen does not turn on after you unfold it. Around the same time, I also bought a Samsung television, which after a year had half of its screen turn green and become excessively bright. Finally, the worst of all, a Samsung Galaxy Book 3 Ultra I bought for myself had the screen spontaneously crack after about 4 months of use, and I am very careful with it. These devices were all purchased close to one another, and once they started failing, they all failed at the same time. It was one disappointment after another. I cannot tell if I was extremely unlucky or if this company is truly unreliable, but either way, I will never buy anything from them again. As a side note, if you search for any of these problems, you will find they are very common. I was just unfortunate enough to have them all happen at once. Story 30. Purple mattress. Bought a king-size adjustable base from a store. Was not told it was a factory second. Got it home, unboxed it and saw it was completely bent. Called for support and was told it was a factory second and had no warranty. They pointed me to the actual manufacturer, who acknowledged the issue and credited Purpleback. Called Purpleback, who acknowledged they received the credit but refused to replace or refund it. Told me I should have unboxed it in the store to ensure it was working. Thank goodness for credit card disputes or I would be out $1,000. Story 31. All streaming services. I thought the whole point of streaming was to provide easier and more streamlined access to content without ads. But now, it seems every major television studio has its own streaming service that costs around $10.99 per month to access a single episode or movie. If you combine the costs of all streaming platforms at their lowest tier packages, you realize that we have essentially returned to paying for cable television. The worst part is that paying for actual cable television would be cheaper than subscribing separately to all the streaming services. Story 32. Walgreens. I have had nothing but trouble with their pharmacy, including receiving someone else's prescriptions. I can confidently say never again. Story 33. Mario Badescu skincare products were found to contain illegal steroids, causing significant damage to customer skin. Much of this damage is permanent. The company received a minor penalty and continues to sell products in major retailers such as Sephora and Ulta. Many people have forgotten about the issue, but I will never buy from them again. Story 34. Jeep. I bought one. I love it. 22 years later, it's my toy. Everything was built wrong. The transmission was replaced within the first 300 miles. The rear differential at 1,200 miles. The drive shaft at 1,220 miles. This one lasted only 20 miles. This was all before it ever left pavement and under warranty. The catalytic converter failed at 50,000 miles. Engine failure occurred at 70,000 miles due to a crack in the block between cylinders 3 and 4. It had many other small issues too. It has never been built well. It is an expensive purchase for such poor build quality. Story 35. Duluth. Expensive, extremely durable pants that do not last as long as normal work pants. $80 for a pair of fire hose pants that do not breathe and wear out 30% faster than the Carhartt or Burn jeans I have. Story 36. All of them. Insurance is a scam. Hospitals take advantage of you. Nearly every consumer product is guilty of shrinkflation. Motor vehicle prices have more than quadrupled in 2 decades. Utilities are very expensive. Companies are paying less for more labor. Arizona tea. That is all you can rely on anymore. Story 37. Bluebell ice cream knew their product was making people sick, but did not shut down until they were caught and 4 people died. Story 38. Samsung appliances. The refrigerator broke down promptly after the 5-year warranty expired, although the temperature had been inconsistent for at least a year before that. Repairing it was more expensive than buying a new one, and because it was a coolant leak rather than a compressor problem, neither the extended warranty nor the food replacement coverage applied. Never again. Story 39. Benji's Deli gave me a sandwich with a large clump of hair in the middle, and I did not notice until it was in my mouth. Story 40. Kohl's uses Synchrony for their credit card. I know it sounds fake, but they never sent me a bill for $3.75 for months. There was never a late fee. It just went to collections, which damaged my credit score. That was my mistake. What made me decide never to use them again was when I tried to contact them about the $3.75. Note, no late fee was added during those months. They have no way to contact a live person. That is the real issue. Story 41. Activision. My account was compromised. Someone reset the email on the account, linked it to a different PlayStation Network account, and completely stole it. I opened a ticket with their support team within hours of it happening. I followed up for 9 months, but they kept giving me the runaround, claiming they locked the thief out but couldn't figure out how to return the account to me. I lost over 500 hours of progress in Call of Duty because I was very dedicated to that game during the COVID-19 pandemic. I have not paid for or played any Activision games since. Story 42. Every Chevrolet vehicle my husband and I have had over the years has broken down at the worst possible times, costing thousands of dollars. We have dealt with various costly repairs, including a complete transmission rebuild. After the initial 1 to 2 years of owning a brand new car, they become a nightmare to maintain. If it is a daily driver, you will face problems constantly. My friends have had similar issues with their Jeep vehicles as well, so that brand is also unreliable. We drive Toyota vehicles now and have had no issues whatsoever. Story 43. General Electric. Not for product reasons, I am sure they are fine, but because their big wave of reorganizations in the early 1990s affected my dad when I was a child. He had given his whole adult life to that company, moved his family every couple of years, and they ended his career without a second thought. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, I know it worked out for the best, really. But in that moment, I formed a grudge against that company that I do not just hold. I have made a special place on the bookshelf of my mind for that grudge, and every now and again I take it out and dust it off. If I ever manage to disrespect Jack Welch's grave, I will consider it a life well spent. Story 44. Airbnb are complete rip-off artists. I came back to the United States for my birthday and rented an Airbnb. When I got to the house, it had not been cleaned. There was long black hair all over the bathroom. I looked around the kitchen and saw the oven door was falling off. I called the host to ask what was going on. He said he could not help because he was in New York City for Fashion Week. I told him I wanted my money back because the place was in terrible condition. He said I had not given him a chance to fix the problems. I went to arbitration, but they said the host claimed I never said anything was wrong. Story 45. Uber denied me a refund multiple times when I was delivered the wrong meal. Only part of my order showed up, or the order arrived 3 hours late. The only time I managed to get a refund, after being delivered 6 bacon cheeseburgers, and I do not eat pork, was when I posted on their Twitter. Now, that does not even work. I look forward to the future Netflix documentary about the shady online delivery business of our current times. Story 46. Paramount, for yielding to an unfounded lawsuit by settling, even after being warned this could be considered a bribe to achieve their merger with Skydance. Story 47. Chipotle was a real treat for a long time and I was a big fan. Now they are about cutting corners while hiking up prices. Food quality and service have hit abysmal lows. They tried to sell brown guacamole as some sort of special avocado. It was garbage. I gave it too many second chances and will never eat there again. Story 48. Belkin was known for extremely poor quality wireless products in the past, such as Wi-Fi adapters and routers. When I worked at a local internet help desk, if someone had Wi-Fi issues that were not caused by a line problem, 9 times out of 10 they had a Belkin router. It was absolutely unreliable. Story 49. State Farm Insurance. A lady knocked my mirror off and dented the side of my car in a parking lot by opening her door extremely hard. I called the police and was with 3 friends who witnessed it. She went home and damaged the side of her car, then accused me of grinding my car against the entire side of her car. Considering how much my insurance rate went up after this incident, I could have bought another Kia which she was driving and another Ford Focus that I owned. This was before digital cameras. Now I have a dash cam that records front, back, and inside the car. With the only incident I've had where a lady hit the back of my car, I record everything. Basically, a lady damaged my car, I called her out, and State Farm mistreated me by dropping my coverage and causing my rates with my next insurer to skyrocket. They probably mistreated me because I was 17, and they took her side. I was affected from almost every angle. My car was damaged, and I just wanted a new mirror, but State Farm added insult to injury. The police also did nothing because it was in a private parking lot. Story 50. I know I commented this before, but wellness made my cat sick for a whole day. I was cleaning puke and diarrhea off his tail. Story 51. Not an exact brand, but the Xbox Elite controllers have to be the single biggest disappointment I have ever bought. I bought one of the originals and it was badly defective. I returned it and the second was defective as well. The third was also defective. I stopped with the original and just got a regular controller that had no issues. A few years later, they made the version 2, and I saw an article about how they improved their quality control, so I gave it another shot. Again, it was defective, and the replacement I received was also defective. I got my money back and will never buy any company's Elite or Premium controller again. Story 52. KLM. Once I flew internationally and tried to return home. They actually said, "Your flight has been flown," meaning someone with the same first and last name as me managed to change my ticket and flew under my name 4 days before my original return flight. It took over 4 hours to prove that this person had a different birth date and middle initial. I arrived at the airport 4.5 hours early, traveling with a companion who did not have any issues. They checked my companion in first and said, "If we don't resolve this, you'll have to fly back separately or cancel your ticket and buy another." After being passed from person to person, I had to call Delta Airlines on my own phone to fix the problem because I originally purchased the ticket from Delta, a partner airline. KLM took little responsibility, but by my own efforts, I proved their error 15 minutes before the flight departed. To accommodate me, they had to remove a standby traveler from the fully booked flight. Although I eventually boarded, KLM acted as if they were not at fault. I submitted many complaints. In return, Delta offered 5,000 miles, and KLM offered nothing. So no more KLM for me. Story 53. Bosch wiper blades are expensive, but I thought, hey, it's Bosch, and bought them for 3 cars. I don't think they lasted 6 months. Story 54. Xfinity. I cannot tolerate anyone from overseas call centers reading the same script regardless of the reason for your call. Please put the script down and answer my question. Story 55. Uber Eats. They consistently get my orders wrong or do not deliver at all. Their customer service has never worked in my favor. Story 56. Dodge Grand Caravan. I experienced electrical issues for 10 years until I got rid of that vehicle. I was very disappointed with the dealer as well. I told them I would pay any price if they would just fix it. The service advisor said, You should expect to have electrical issues on an 8-year-old car. I should have asked if that was the manufacturer's position. We had a manufacturer's unlimited mile warranty, and every time we took it in for service, they acted unaware and tried to bill me, claiming they did not know it was still under warranty. That dealership will never get another cent from me or anyone who wants my opinion about them. Story 57. HBO has not had a multi-season story arc with a decent ending since The Wire. That was over 17 years ago. Story 58. Wow, I'm surprised this post passed. Black & Decker is a household name, but just about every appliance or tool I've gotten from them has broken one way or another. It's a shame because some had promising designs. Story 59. Razer. I had a mouse that had a switch with the double-click issue under warranty. I contacted customer support, and they told me to open it and send photos. I thought that was odd but did as they asked. They then told me that I voided the warranty by opening it and they could not replace it. Story 60. Facebook deleted my account that I had since childhood and only notified me afterward, even though I had not used it in years and had done nothing wrong. Apparently, it is becoming a common issue, and their customer support is very lacking, making it almost impossible to recover the account. Irritating. Story 61. Crest knowingly released a rinse that they knew would turn your teeth brown. I have never bought a Crest product since. Story 62. Nestle. Their aggressive marketing to poor and underdeveloped communities has caused the deaths of many babies. This is driven by pure greed. We estimate that Nestle's entry into low- and middle-income country formula markets caused about 212,000 infant deaths per year among mothers without access to clean water at the peak of the Nestle controversy in 1981, and has led to approximately 10.9 million excess infant deaths between 1960 and 2015. Story 63. Citibank. I used to work there. They intentionally targeted minorities, former military personnel, and first responders with predatory credit products to saddle them with debt. They used to say in training that members of these groups would do anything to avoid the shame of bankruptcy and collections, making them the target demographic for high-interest credit cards and loans. Story 64. Frontier Airlines. I went to Colorado last week. My flight to Denver was canceled. I rebooked on Southwest Airlines. Frontier Airlines' customer service line was so long that it impacted the Southwest Airlines flight I booked. I did not get to Colorado until 10:30 at night and missed the first night of Metallica. Talking to people at the bar when I arrived, I quickly realized that I was not the first person to have a bad experience with this airline. Sometimes the cheap option is not the best option. Story 65. Wells Fargo, not my account but my then-girlfriend and now wife's. Her account was hacked through PayPal and all her money was taken. She reached out to Wells Fargo over the phone and they said no problem. They said they would open a new account and close the old one. We received the new account, new card, funds returned, everything. The new account was immediately hacked through PayPal again, even though the password was changed, and all her money was taken again. When we called back, they said that you cannot create a brand new account over the phone because it remains linked to the original account. That is why they took the money again. We had to visit a branch. We visited a branch of another bank and closed everything at Wells Fargo after getting funds returned. This was before Wells Fargo was caught opening credit accounts for customers without permission. Story 66. Neutrogena. They have faced issues for causing chemical burns, but I was obsessed with their products for about 2 years. Story 67. Razer personal computer gaming accessories. Everyone I have ever owned had issues in less than a year, some to the point of being unusable. Story 68. Moan. I bought shower valves from them a few times, and the valves all needed replacement right out of the box. From now on, Delta. Story 69. Progressive Auto Insurance. I was with them for about 5 years. My husband had 2 accidents in the last year. The first was when he was driving with person B in person B's vehicle, parked at a gas station, and the parking brake failed. The vehicle rolled into a dump truck. They blamed my husband, saying he was responsible because he should have ensured the vehicle was road safe. Okay, whatever. I let that slide. In the second accident, he pulled into a T intersection to the far lane and, after driving about 500 feet, got rear-ended. The other driver, a man in his 70s, stated that my husband pulled out directly in front of him and there was no time to stop. I had photo evidence of how far away from the intersection they were when they collided, and it was obvious their story was false, but Progressive did not care to hear it. I ended my contract with them immediately after. Story 70. Robinhood claims to create an investment product for regular people. However, they prioritized institutional transactions and stopped GameStop purchases. Story 71. Turtle Beach. My last headset from this company broke after only a month. The band of the headset cracked on one side and shattered on the other from regular use. My partner, who also used to shop Turtle Beach, had the exact same thing happen with his, and neither headset was inexpensive. Story 72. Instagram. Check out the Instagram forum and you will find many posts about false bans with serious accusations. People have been losing their business and personal accounts with no explanation, support, or details. Story 73. Samsung voided the warranty on my month-old folding phone, which cracked on the screen in the crease where it folded. The warranty was voided because there was a superficial, unrelated microscopic scratch on the external edge of the phone, in the one spot the official Samsung case did not cover. I will never buy from them again because they sold me a faulty product for $1,500, which I only used for 1 week, and then blamed me for the damage. Story 74. Liquid Death used to be a huge favorite. I still have about 15 shirts that I wear strictly to work so I do not get my favorite clothes full of oil. They added stevia to their flavored waters and teas and reduced the can size. Stevia triggers my migraine condition and causes terrible nausea. This is another brand that capitalized on the alternative scene and people longing for natural, good-tasting drinks, only to chase after mainstream crowds who have had more than 20 different stevia options over the past decade. Story 75. Samsung. They sold me a phone, Galaxy S7, that had a known hardware issue with the camera. I discovered it was a hardware problem and proved it. I brought it to a local repair shop for a diagnostic test to confirm. They provided me with a confirmation showing it was faulty hardware. But their small shop was not certified for this particular fix. After days on the phone with customer service, probably over 12 hours wasted, they directed me to a store in the city 1.5 hours away. When I arrived, they had the wrong part. They told me I could drive 1.5 hours north to another city. I became very frustrated. I paid $1,200 for a piece of faulty hardware, and they gave me the runaround for weeks. Samsung is in everything. LEDs, computer memory, televisions, but I will never buy anything from Samsung again if I can help it. I encourage all Americans to do the same. They use the United States as a dumping ground for their subpar products. It is part of the reason they are not traded on the New York Stock Exchange. I do not support that company. Story 76. Nestle. Because of everything they have done so far, I still doubt their intentions. Story 77. Pampered Chef. Overpriced and not that great quality. I can find better quality kitchen items at Marshall's and HomeGoods. Not impressed with anything they offer. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.